Hi there, my name is Chance Was Funny. This is our second presentation on factorization of the quadratic expression ax squared plus bx plus c. Recapping, we started from this kind of an expression after we'd expanded these brackets to get this expression. Then we say that this presentation of the quadratic expression ax squared plus bx plus c is actually suggesting how we should go about with our factorization. From there, we had this discussion, which actually is our process of factorizing such kind of expression. Now, our presentation today is on the same type of expression, but in this case, we're going to look at a special case where, in this case here, alpha and beta are equal. Now, if alpha and beta are equal, this quadratic expression will reduce to alpha squared x squared plus alpha m plus alpha n in brackets multiplied by x. Notice that we could have taken beta in a similar fashion, that wouldn't be a problem, plus m n. Now we can see how our b coefficient is built up and our c coefficient is built up. Like in the previous case, is still m by n. Now, for that, we'll need an example. Now, we pick on a particular example which we want to factorize applying this method. The example is 25 x squared minus 5x minus 2. Like as usual, we're going to get our table. From what we've got here, our C is m times n, and our B is equals to alpha m plus alpha n. Then we're going to do our checking. Now, this expression as it is, we can actually reduce it to the first expression, type of expression, by looking at, in our first instance, where the x, the leading coefficient here equals to 1. In that case, if we were to write this leading term here, as a square, because if the leading coefficient is equal to 1, we simply add x squared plus b x plus c. So we're going to check if we can reduce this expression into that form. Effectively, yes, we can, because here we've got the whole term is a perfect square. Then we can write this as 5x squared minus 5x minus 2. Then if it's written in this way, in terms of 5x, then this will reduce to exactly what we saw before. B is going to be m plus n. In this case, our b is equals to minus 1. And then our c is minus 2. Now, factors of minus 2 would be minus 2 times 1 would be minus 1 times 2. Then if we do our checking, it's just taking these two factors and adding them and see if we can get b. And effectively, as you see, luckily, we have 1 plus minus 2, which gives us minus 2. And that is exactly what we want. And we might not need to go any further because we've got what we want. But in any case, if we had started with this combination, we then would have minus 1 plus 2, which will give us 1, which will be what we don't want. So in this case here, we would open the brackets and write the factors where in the initial case there was x, we now put here 5x, because you can say this quadratic expression is a quadratic expression in terms of 5x. Then we have here plus minus 2, not minus 1, minus 2 by 5x plus 1. Simplifying in brackets there, we've got 5x minus 2 multiplied by 5x plus 1. Then at this point you can check whether this, when you multiply, when you remove the brackets, you get back to that original expression which were given there. So what is important here is that whenever we have got alpha and beta equal in this equation, this leading term here becomes a perfect square, and then that expression is reducible to the initial case, the simplest case which he had, and then we can simplify this one. Sometimes people prefer to take this expression written as 25 x squared plus minus 5 x minus 2. Once they've decided that this is a perfect square, when they write this as 5x all squared minus 5x minus 2, they do some kind of introduce a helping variable like k, then k replaces 5x, then this expression will be rewritten as k squared minus k minus 2, which is clearly the first case. But if you are comfortable with this, it's fine. My presentation, I will leave my terms in terms of the base of this perfect square, which is there. And I hope you will see that when you are doing this, taking 25x squared, when I'm taking 25x squared to 5x squared, we are applying here the rules of exponents, which will give us from here, will give us 5 squared multiplied by x squared. That is the property of exponents, that if we've got x, y in brackets a, this is equals to x to the power a, y to the power a. What I'm trying to highlight here is that as you are doing a chapter or a certain content, you must always be on the lookout for other things which you have learned and you can apply in the situation which you have at hand. So that is what I'm highlighting there. Now, I think it's the time to get a second example of this type. Let's say example. Right. Our second example is a 4x squared minus 4x minus 15. Now we need to get two factors. So we're going to have two brackets here. Then we can clean up our table and reuse it. I hope everyone can realize again that this is a perfect square. Then doing that kind of analysis we did before, we can write this as 2x all squared. Once we have done that, we should always try to come to the middle term and see if we can write it in terms of 2x. In this case here, we've got 4x, then we can reduce that to 2 brackets 2x. Then in this case here, we're going to have minus 2 2x minus 15. We must see that this process actually now reveals what is our b for the purposes of our table here. In this case, we're going to have m plus n equals to minus 2. So our c is minus 15. Then we're going to write here minus 15 equals to 1 times minus 15 equals to minus 15 times 1, and then we have got times 5, sorry, 3 times minus 5, and you can also have minus 3 times 5. I think we've exhausted the factors there. And clearly, as you get used to this thing, there are cases which of m and n we can right away rule out that it's impossible to get that. There's no way we can get minus 2 from minus 15 and 13. So here we're going to get minus 13, and in this one minus, sorry, this is repeated here. This was supposed to be minus 1 by 15. Minus 1 by 15. As you can see, sometimes we need to be careful as we write. We shouldn't be under pressure, but such things will always happen when you're writing, but we need to double check what's working. Then here we're going to have 14. Again, at the top there's a mistake. I hope you realize that is should be minus 14. Now, the next case here, it's minus 5 plus 3, minus 5 plus 3, which will give us minus 2, which is what we want. In last case, will obviously give us 2, which will be not what we want. So, among all these possible factors, our choice is going to be this one. Then, our x in that simplest expression is replaced by 2x. So we're going to come in and write 2x, then plus our m. We take n of the two numbers to be m, then our m to minus 5, and then plus 3. Then simplifying that, especially the first factor there, we write 2x minus 5 multiplied by 2x plus 3. And that is supposed to be correctly factorized. We can check, it's always good to check, to reverse the process will be actually practicing the removal of brackets. But what is important about this, you must see that when we, in the previous work, when we said remove brackets, we're in situations like this, we're actually building up quadratic expression. Now, if we now want to take off from a quadratic expression to factors, we must really understand how the coefficients in the quadratic expression build out from the numbers we have here, which is the process which you are trying to decode here in this kind of a table. Now, I hope this has been understood. The next thing, I need to give you some homework to do. So this is what we're going to take for your homework. This is homework. Now, having these video clips, if you feel that when you are doing your homework there's something you've forgotten, please rerun the clip carefully and see how the process goes about. But what is important is that you watching the video clip, you must try to learn. Then at some stage you must try to close down your video clips and do this without watching, you're looking at an example or watching the video clips. So your homework will be 5 exercises, which are as follows. Number 1, we have 4x minus 4x squared minus 4x minus 24. Number 2, 9x squared plus 24x plus 16. Number 3, we have 25x squared minus 5x minus 6. And then number 4, we have 16x squared plus 28x plus 10. And lastly, 5, we have p squared x minus 4px minus 32. Now, as you can see, we've got 5 exercises of the same type. This is what you should try to do when you are learning mathematics. Once you learn something, I think you must try to practice that same type of a concept or a skill many times and make sure that it actually becomes part of your system. Then, and take note that when you are being evaluated, different cases are going to be mixed, but for practice, you must start to practice individual cases many times until you are comfortable with that. At this point, I'm going to stop and say good luck with your homework. I hope you enjoyed this presentation. I said my name is Charles Sugasfani. Thank you for listening.